There is a cemetery you won't see on any map. It has no marble gravestones, no flowers, and no iron gates. It is a silent cemetery found inside glass office towers, in rush-hour traffic at 6 in the evening, and in luxurious rooms where the air conditioner is the only thing breathing. In this cemetery, the smiles that never happened are buried. The I love yous that got stuck in the throat because of an urgent meeting. Thousands of people walk through it. They wear expensive clothes, but they have all made the 30-year mistake. The mistake of believing that life begins later, after the promotion, after paying off the house, after retirement. But life does not wait, and time is a cruel collector who does not accept installments. This is the story of Arthur, a man who had everything to be happy, but was miserably poor in the only currency that truly matters: time. He was about to discover that he was a prisoner of vanity, and his only chance of salvation would come from the neighbor he considered a failure. There is a kind of fatigue that sleep cannot cure. It is a weariness that enters the bones, that weighs on the soul. You see this fatigue every day, at 6 in the morning and 10 at night, inside metal boxes crossing the city, in this cemetery on wheels. The only sound is the roaring engine and the sighs of people who just sold 10 more hours of their life for money that no longer belongs to them. They believe that if they just work a little longer, if they take on just one more job, life will get better. But the math of life is relentless. The faster they run, the bigger the hole gets. Arthur was 42 years old, had 2 jobs, crushing debt, and a terrible feeling that life was happening far away from him. It was 10:45 p.m. on a Tuesday. The 402 bus smelled of burned diesel and cold sweat. Arthur was standing, squeezed in. His back screamed in pain. He had left home at 5:30 in the morning for his first job at the accounting office. At 6 in the evening, he rushed to his second shift, night attendant at a pizza delivery place, to supplement the income. Almost 17 hours later, he was heading back. Arthur looked at his reflection in the glass. He saw an aged man with dark circles under his eyes. He pulled out his latest generation smartphone. At 42, with calloused hands, he tried to convince himself, "I am a warrior. I deserve a good phone." But deep down, he knew that with every installment notification, he became poorer. The bank app opened. Red balance, minus $2,400, overdraft. Arthur felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The salaries from both jobs would come in tomorrow, but the bank would swallow everything immediately: the mortgage payment, the car payment, and the credit card bill. Arthur was not a provider. He was a forced wealth distributor. The money passed through his hands for 5 seconds before going to the bank owner. Arthur got off at the final stop and walked 3 blocks to his house. He lived in a semi-detached house he financed over 30 years. The facade was beautiful. But upon reaching the gate, he stopped. Across the street, in the simple house, sat Mr. Silver. Mr. Silver, retired, never had 2 jobs. But there he was at 11 p.m., sitting on the porch, sipping tea, completely at peace. Mr. Silver's car was a simple, paid-off 2010 model. Arthur's was a new silver sedan, financed, gathering dust. Arthur took the bus to pay for the car he didn't use. The stupidity of it hit him like a punch. "Good evening, Arthur. Just getting home, my boy?" asked the neighbor with genuine pity. "Someone has to work to sustain the economy, right?" Arthur replied, with an acidic tone, trying to feel superior. Mr. Silver just smiled. "Be careful, Arthur. The economy stays, we leave." Arthur ignored the old man's wisdom and slammed the gate shut. The house was dark. The silence was cut only by the hum of the refrigerator. His wife, Mariana, was already asleep. They barely saw each other. Arthur went to his son Lucas's room, who was 8 years old. The scene broke his heart. Lucas was sleeping. On the nightstand there was a school drawing. On the paper the mother and the dog, and in a corner, small and colored gray, a distant stick figure. Daddy working. Arthur sat on the floor next to his son's bed. He bought expensive toys to compensate for his absence. He thought he was being a good father because he provided things, but the drawing told the truth. He was a stranger who paid the bills. He was 42. If he continued at that pace, he would have a heart attack before 50. He was digging a grave, and he needed to get out before the earth covered his head for good. Arthur woke up on Wednesday with his body screaming. His shoulder felt like it had a rock inside. He barely slept, replaying the debts. The day at the accounting office was a blur. At 6 in the evening, he rushed to the pizzeria. He had to catch 2 buses. The second bus was packed. Arthur was sweating. Suddenly his vision began to darken. The heat, the pressure, the lack of decent food, and the stress hit him all at once. Arthur collapsed on the dirty floor. People around him simply moved away. No one helped. The driver just shouted, "Get up, man! You can't lie down!" Arthur crawled to the seat, feeling the humiliation. He was passing out because of exorbitant interest and lack of time to breathe. He got off at the stop, limping, 40 minutes late for the pizzeria. The pizzeria boss greeted him with disdain. "Just getting here, Arthur. The delivery line is out the door. Again? I don't want excuses. You'll stay until closing today for free. And forget your Christmas bonus." The Christmas bonus was Arthur's only hope of covering the hole in the school tuition. He felt the ground disappear. Still that night, exhausted, he received a call from his wife. Her voice was different, not anger, but a weariness that hurt more. "Arthur, it's Lucas." Something happened. Arthur froze. "What is it, Mariana? Just tell me." "He scored the winning goal in the school soccer game, the championship final. He was looking for you in the stands. You weren't there." Arthur fell silent. He had completely forgotten. I know. I was stuck at work. I couldn't get out." Mariana continued, her voice choked but firm. "He cried in the locker room, not because of the goal, but because of your absence. He asked why you always choose work, Arthur. I am working for him, Mariana. I am building a future." "No, Arthur. You are working to pay off our past. You are working to maintain a gate that separates us, a car you don't use, and a cell phone you only use to look at the hole in the account. I'm tired too. I work too. And the only thing I wanted was our husband back, not one more bill." Arthur threw the phone on the sofa. He was the father who gave everything, except presents. He had nowhere left to run. The house of cards collapsed. Arthur spent the night awake. When the sun began to rise, he got up, staggering. He walked to the window. He didn't have the strength to go to either of his 2 jobs. Across the street, the morning sun hit Mr. Silver's porch. There he was, reading a crumpled newspaper, at peace. Arthur, in a moment of despair, crossed the street. He didn't go to ask for money. He went to ask for the only thing Mr. Silver had, the answer. He stopped in front of the fence. Mr. Silver looked up. There was no judgment, only calm. "Good morning, Mr. Silver. Can I have a glass of water?" The old man smiled. "Of course, Arthur. Come in. But why don't you have some coffee with me? I've been waiting for you for a long time." Arthur sat on the plastic chair. Mr. Silver poured the strong, homemade coffee, the first true aroma Arthur had felt in months. "I can't take it anymore, Mr. Silver. I work 17 hours a day. I have a good salary at the office, and I have nothing. I missed my son's goal. I am a failure." Mr. Silver listened and spoke the phrase that would start the revolution. "Arthur, you are not a failure. You are just being robbed, and the thief is not the bank. It's your perspective. You are scared, but I said you were being robbed, and I will prove to you who the thief is." "It's the bank, Mr. Silver. I fell into overdraft. The interest is absurd." "The bank is just the overseer. The true thief is your ego, Arthur. You work to pay for things you don't even use, to try to prove to people who don't even care that you made it. Look at your house. The facade is imposing. But you are 42 years old, have 2 jobs, take the bus, and are fainting from exhaustion. And look at that brand new silver car parked in your garage. That year's car is your most expensive handcuff, Arthur. Tell me one thing. How much is the monthly payment plus insurance plus registration? Guess low. About $4,500 a month. $4,500. And do you use it to go to work? No, I don't have money for gas or maintenance. I take the bus. You are paying $4,500 a month to have a car that sits parked in your garage, waiting for you to come home from the bus. You are buying other people's opinions for $4,500 monthly. That is compulsive consumerism. You need time. And that's where the math the banks don't want you to learn comes in. Arthur, tell me, what is your work value hour? You work 17 hours a day. That's 340 hours a month. Let's assume you earn $8,000 net. Your real hourly value, Arthur, is approximately $23.50. Now let's look at the cost of your iPhone. $7,000 installment, about $300 a month. $300 divided by $23.50. You spend 12 full hours of work every month, Arthur, just to pay for a phone. You work almost 2 full days every month just to show off a phone you hate, but you feel you must have to belong. Now back to the car. $4,500 a month. $4,500 divided by $23.50. That gives you 191 hours of work, Arthur. 191 hours. You work 20 full days every month just to pay for the financing of a car you don't use. If you get rid of that car, Arthur, you recover 191 hours of life per month. That's 11 hours free per day. What would you do with 191 more hours of life? You can choose to work just 8 hours. You can return to your son at 6 p.m. You can have dinner with your wife. The price of your peace of mind, Arthur, is the car sitting in the garage. I made the 30-year mistake, Arthur. I'm a retired electrician. I worked 35 years to pay off the first house and then to buy a better one. By the time I got the better house, my children had already moved out. I waited for retirement to live, but life had already passed. When I understood that, I sold everything. I got rid of the new house and bought this one outright. Today, I live on 1/3 of my retirement debt-free. I drive my paid-off 2010 car, but I have the rarest thing, unpaid time. The comfort of a luxury car gave you 2 things, debt and stress. The comfort of a paid-off car, Arthur, gives you 1 thing, freedom. You need to decide. Do you want to have a commercial-worthy life or a real life? Your son won't remember the model of your cell phone. He will remember the day you went to his game. He drew you gray because you were a shadow. What are you going to do now, Arthur? What is the first step out of the cemetery? I'm going to call Mariana. I'm going to ask her to help me sell the luxury car and the iPhone. Good. What gets you out of debt is not a promotion. It's humility. Now finish your coffee. Take your time. You are already late for your old life anyway. Arthur sat down again on the cheap plastic chair, drank the home-brewed coffee, and for the first time in years felt peace. Arthur followed the advice. He called Mariana, not to fight, but to confess. For the first time they were on the same team. Why did you never tell me the truth, Arthur? Why spend $4,500 on the car if we couldn't even afford gas? Because of shame. I thought comfort was the same as love. Forgive me. Our comfort is not in the car, Arthur. It's in having you here. We will fix this together. The confession was the true turning point. The marriage, which was almost bankrupt from financial stress, gained a new foundation, radical honesty. The first week was hard. Arthur and Mariana sold the silver sedan and the iPhone. They lost money, but the relief was priceless. The most painful moment was selling the silver sedan. Arthur had to go to the dealership and watch the salesman slash the car's value by half just to get rid of the financing. He felt the shame acutely, but as he signed the paper, he didn't feel sadness for the loss of the car. He felt relief for the end of the debt. With the money, Arthur paid off the school tuition, the overdraft, and bought a used, simple but paid-off car. Arthur's first step wasn't saving, it was cutting the chains. The second step was radical. He called the pizzeria and quit. I'm not coming back. My time is worth more than your Christmas bonus. I recovered 231 hours of my life per month. 3 weeks later, Arthur was at a dusty soccer field at 5:30 in the afternoon. He was there. When Lucas scored the goal, he didn't look at his mother. He looked directly at Arthur. "Dad, did you see it? Did you see my goal? I saw every second, champ. I saw every second." That night, the family sat at the table. The food was simple, but the atmosphere was light. Arthur didn't go to the office to pay bills. He went to the floor to build a puzzle with his son. His son's drawing, which once showed his father grey and distant, would now be different. He was colourful and centre stage. 6 months passed. Arthur didn't get rich. He still had the same salary, but he was free from the emotional mortgage. He became a man of one word: enough. He was the owner of his money. Mr. Silver and Arthur became friends. Every morning they met on the simple porch. "Life gave you a second chance, Arthur. What will you do with it?" asked Mr. Silver. "I'm going to live, Mr. Silver. I'm going to save time. I realize that true wealth is having enough money to not have to rush. You who are watching me, if you identified with my despair, I tell you, stop digging. Your bucket isn't leaking from lack of water, money. It's leaking from an excess of holes, vanity and debt. I waited 30 years to live. Don't wait for bankruptcy or your child's tears. Your time is the only currency you can't pay in installments. Your life is happening now." Arthur's mistake cost him 30 years of absence, but it saved his future. If your life resembles Arthur's before the intervention, hold your crisis meeting. Today, reclaim your time. Say no to vanity. The first step toward dignity is not buying something new. It's selling what holds you captive. If this story touched you, write in the comments to seal your commitment. I will sell my handcuffs. Share this video with someone who needs this lesson. Until the next story, and may you find peace.